Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting from Joe's Pub here in New York City. Blessing the band stage for the last two nights here in New York is a dynamic British vocalist by the name of Barb Jungr. Now, for the last 30 years, Miss Younger has done some things in her career in which she is taking relevant artists and composers of her generation, and she's put a new spin and twist on lyrics and songs by artists ranging from Joni Mitchell to David Bowie, as well as the great Bob Dylan, as well as Leonard Cohen. Tonight, she's singing music from her brand new CD, Shelter from the Storm, which is her third tribute record to the great Bob Dylan as well as Leonard Cohen. She also partnered with the great pianist Lawrence Hobgood, who's also been the accompanist as well as arranger for the great Kurt Elling for the last 20 years. I had a chance to sit down to break bread with Barb to talk about this brand new CD and why Bob Dylan and Leonard Cohen are very relevant during this generation, as well as talk about her new partnership with pianist Lawrence Hobgood. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the official New York record release of Barb Jungr's brand new CD, Shelter from the Storm, performed live here at Joe's Pub as part of the Pace Report here in New York City, featuring pianist and arranger Lawrence Hobgood. Barbara, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to sit down and congratulations for this kickoff of this brand new CD. And as I was talking to you earlier before we started this interview, I think it's very, very important to really reflect on how important Bob Dylan and also Leonard Cohen's music is to the world as far as meaning, how it relates to life and political issues, and also just how they were a voice for their generation.
Well, absolutely. And interestingly, I think, however much one thinks of them as a voice for their generations, they're a voice for all generations because some of the songs that I did on Hard Rain, which are, say, 50 years old, you could have written them this morning. They apply absolutely to the political stage today. And I mean, I think that speaks volumes for the quality of the writing. It speaks volumes about how good um, both of their eyes are. And I think it's like having a laser eye. It's like they've got laser eyes inside the human soul. Because the human soul, as we all know, is a place with many facets, many good, also many bad. We all have everything. And they see it all, and they spell it all, and they speak it all, and they're almost like Sibyl's. It's prophetic. I think it's extraordinary work.
You know, the first record you chose some very different songs for both of their artists in their different phases of their careers. And I wanted to know what makes this album different. And also, I want to put a caveat here before you answer that. You don't sing their songs, you interpret it your way.
Well, I mean, I'm aided, as you know, by the great work of the people I work with who arrange with me and for me. So on this album, Shelter from the Storm, I've been working with the great Lawrence Hobgood, and he is tremendous. He's a wonderful, wonderful human being and a great jazz artist. He's a fantastic player. And he's also, as he tiptoes through this room, very quiet, I can say also. And that's a huge thing, you know, because I have a vision about my work, but I can't make that vision happen unless I'm in a boat with people. And he does the hard rowing in that, you know, because he's doing the charts and that. But he came to it with, wow, such fire and passion. That was great. When I worked on Hard Rain, I worked with Simon Wallace, and I've got to say the same about Simon Wallace. Simon Wallace in Britain is a really tremendous, beautiful musician, and comes with great power and insight. So, I mean, I'm very, very lucky with the people I work with. You know, I would have to also say Adrian York and Jenny Carr, and I've worked with terrific people, and I'm really grateful to all of them because they all bring superb work. That said, they know also that what I'm doing is trying to do what I do. And when it works, you know, it's because we're working together, it's because we row together. You know, you all have to be in a boat together. So we're all together. If we're not all rowing together, then the boat's not going no place.
And let's also add one more thing about Lawrence. He is a tremendous jazz pianist, and he also cut his teeth with the legendary Kurt Elling also.
Yeah, yeah, you know, but I think that maybe Lawrence has never had his full due, actually.
Well, he's getting it
So
now.
I think he's getting it now. I think he's getting it now. But he's a remarkably talented player. And funnily enough, last night somebody said to me, "Oh, you know, I was trying to work out what styles Lawrence is copying, and I couldn't work them out." And I said, "That's because he's his own self." Actually, that is because, and that's what people say about me. People say, "Oh, it's kind of like this and it's kind of like that, but it's not really like that." I mean, people have said Edith Piaf, um, Peggy Lee, and Nina Simone. Now you go, well, that's like three so different things. That's extraordinary. That's,
Right.
and I'm not upset with any of those as people that you're held up against. I'm going, thank you, thank you. But the reality is that all of those people were unique of themselves. And I think if you're doing things that don't fit easily, people struggle to find a way to box you. You know what I mean? They want to box you, and that's just the way people are. Valley High may call you any night, any day. In your heart, you'll hear it call you. Come away. Valley high will whisper where the wind meets the sea. Here am I, your special island. Come to me, come to me. Your own special hopes, your own special dreams. Bloom on the hillside and shine in the stream. If you try, you'll find me where the sky meets the sea. Here am I, your special island. Come to me, come to me. Valley high, valley high, valley
You know what's very unfair is that you have been hailed as a great cabaret vocalist, but they say you're not too cabaret, and then when you try to do jazz and you do jazz, they say you're not too jazzy, and I'm like, That's not fair, but I want you to tell the viewers out there what the difference is between a cabaret vocalist per se versus as a jazz vocalist.
Well, you see, that's an interesting question because I come back to where we started before we put the camera on. I'm really not interested in any of that. I don't mean that rudely. What I mean is, you're either good at what you do or you're not. There are thousands of people who people call jazz singers, and I don't think they're very good singers, actually. Okay? So then whether they're doing anything or not is irrelevant to me. And that same goes for if people working in cabaret. What matters to me is whether people move you, whether people do what they're supposed to do. I would argue that I am a jazz singer because I work with rhythm and I work with harmony. And that is, to me, what jazz singing is about. You and I both talked about somebody who'll remain nameless, who's very popular as a jazz singer. And we both agreed that if you took the jazz thermometer and dipped it in her recent album, we both said 0. Exactly. So what the hell does any of it mean? Actually, you would look at somebody like, for example, let's take as an example Sinatra. What was Sinatra? Was he a jazz singer? Was he a cabaret singer? Who cares? In what possible world does it matter?
And you know what's funny, and I'm glad that you said that. Sinatra sang everything. He sang Brazilian. He sang pop. He sang jazz. He sang Tin Pan Alley.
Thank you.
And the reason why Sinatra and guys like Perry Como and guys like Nat King Cole were able to straddle all musical genres is because in the 40s, it was all about the song.
Yeah, exactly. And nobody walked around going, oh, is it supper club or is it jazz? Because actually, if you were a working singer, you sang in all those places. If you couldn't hold an audience and talk to an audience, you weren't a performer. So I think this is all, a little bit of a red herring. And it's because people have got confused, I think. I mean, for example, people think that because they see something on television, it's good. There's a lot of confusion about what is actually of any value and what is not. And you have to go, well, I work with the best people in the world. I think they wouldn't work with me if they didn't think what I did was worthwhile. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm a singer and I'm working with great people.
You've done some things that are very interesting vocally. You've put a myriad of a lot of musics. I've covered a lot of music. You've done world, you've done folk, you've done pop. And I want to understand from a vocalist point of view, how do you interpret song to make songs very relevant, or also how do you interpret to something to make it yours?
Well, you see, I'm funny because I was talking to somebody in Australia and I said, I don't interpret. What I do is I sing the song. I take the song and I sing it. And if you hear something new in that, it's because me and with the people with whom I've arranged and the people who've arranged with and for me, if they've done their job and I've done my job and we present it in the right way, then you hear it new. And if you like, that gives people rise to say, oh, I'm interpreting. I'm not interpreting anything. They're not in another language. Do you know what I mean? I'm just singing them. But what I try to do, I try to stand, and I'll do it tonight, I try to stand before each song new every single night. Every single night. I go, I don't know what this song means until I sing it. And when I sing it, I discover it with the musicians and with the audience. And that way, we're all in the boat. We're in that same boat again. And we're all in it together. And that makes it, for me, really exciting, really exciting. If I have an idea already, I want to tell you this with this song, then I've lost, that's a lost plot right there. I don't need to do that. The song does the work. The song does all the work. I choose good songs. And I've got better at that over the years. I get better and better at choosing better songs. And people are very kind. People suggest things and people go, and sometimes, I will have said no to a song 5, 10 years ago. And tomorrow that song comes to my door and it goes, sing me. You bloody well sing me. And I have to do it.
congratulations also. You have a PBS special that is currently airing all over the country right now. And I want to ask you because you're a lot of your base is overseas, UK and also in Europe, and I want to know what's it like performing here in America and to American audiences, and do you have to have a certain set list that you have to come with? Because I've interviewed musicians from all over the world, and they say that when they come here, they have to play very, very differently to their audiences.
Oh no, I don't do any of that. Are you surprised? No, I do exactly what I'm going to do. I make my decision and I do that. And that's what I do, you know. I mean, years and years ago, you'll laugh. Years and years ago, when I was working Younger and Parker, and all our songs were, we wrote them all, and they were all about our existence in London, you know, living in this kind of fringe world of music in London. And we went to Sudan with the British Council, right? And we were on the plane, and Michael Parker, who was a beautiful, beautiful guitarist, what a great rhythm player, and a voice to kill for, you know, really a nice singer. And we did a lot of harmony work. I loved that man. He was a great player, he was a great musician, and everything I know about the blues, I learnt from him. Everything. Whoa. Anyway, that's aside. We were on the plane, and he went, "Do you think we should be singing this?" And I went, "Well, yeah." And he went, "But will people know what it is?" We had a song called the Laundrette Song, and it was about how somebody goes to the laundrette with their lover's sheets, and in the laundrette they meet somebody else washing their lover's sheets, and they fall in love and run away together. And the chorus was, "While the sheets from our bed were tumble drying, I'd fallen in love without even trying, while the machines were rinsing and spinning, one love was ending, one love was ending, one love was ending, a new love beginning." And we sang that. Everybody loved it. I don't think anybody in that audience had any idea what a laundrette was. But do you know what? It didn't matter, because they got that it was a love song. They got that it was tender. They got all of that. Music's music. When I left, they were sleeping. I hope you run into them soon. Don't turn on the light. You could read their address by the moon. Then you won't make me jealous if I knew that they sweetened your night. We weren't lovers like that, and besides, it would still be it would still be alright.
Let's talk about this new CD. I want to know, because Dylan is written and he's still writing, and so is Leonard Cohen. They're still writing prolific music, and I want to know how you chose the music for both the first tribute record, because I have to say it is a tribute. Anytime you are taking and dissecting someone's music, that is a compliment in the highest order.
Absolutely not. And actually, it's not my first time, because my first Dylan CD was 2002, Every Grain of Sand.
That's right.
And a Wall Street Journal were very nice about that album. Then I made Man in the Long Black Coat, all Dylan, and that was in about 2010. And then Hard Rain, songs of Bob Dylan and Leonard Cohen, which was, I think, 2012, 13, around then. And then now this Shelter from the Storm, which has Shelter from the Storm and All Along the Watchtower, and it has also on it Sisters of Mercy. Um, yeah, I just I don't think I'm ever going to stop with both of them. I haven't finished with Bruce Springsteen either, or Jacques Brel. I like songwriters who don't just write love songs. And by the way, we could look back at the Great American Songbook and Irving Berlin, and those great songs, Gershwin's. I mean, lordy, beautiful, beautiful work. I like people who look at things as other things as well. I mean, I love a love song is a wonderful thing, but it's nice to. I'm a certain age, and I now want to sing things that are about the world and the human condition. And the human condition for me is no longer just oh boy boy boy, oh boy boy boy. That's it's interesting, but it's not that interesting anymore. Now I'm interested in what have you got to tell me? What can I share? What can we share? And also because young people come, and I want them to hear that too. I want them to know what can we share? What can we talk about? Because our world is not a good place still. I don't have to tell you this. We are not in a good place, and I think as artists, that's part of our job. I know people will debate this with me, and I'm not saying that we can't be entertaining while we're doing it. It's up to you to think whether we pull that off or not when you see the show. But I think we have to be everything. I think Nina Simone said, "To be alive is to be political."
Well, she lived everything that she sang, and I want to piggyback on an artist that you mentioned. A lot of people don't realize is Jacques Brel.
Oh, Jacques Brel.
David Bowie was a he was very influenced by that man.
Oh God, yeah.
And we lost him earlier this year, and we lost Prince too. There were we've lost some icons this year. We
We've
really,
lost a lot of
yes.
people already.
And I say Mr. Brill's music was very different because he sang it, and he there was a certain way in the style that he performed his music, and I think that is what I don't see too many people doing what he has done.
I know. I know. I have some very good friends who are very big fans, and I would mention Philip Jays in this context, who I think really writes very beautifully of all kinds of things. But Jacques Brel, in the port of Amsterdam, there are sailors
Yeah.
that sleep like the banners that hang by canals dank and deep, and in the port of Amsterdam, there are sailors that dream. I, I mean, I'm going to have to do that again because I blew that.
No, you
In the
didn't.
port of Amsterdam, there are sailors that dream of the dreams that haunt them through the streets of Amsterdam. And in the port of Amsterdam, there are sailors that sleep like the banners that hang by canals dank and deep. And in the port of Amsterdam, there are sailors that die just like drunken old hams when the dawn lights the sky. And in the port of Amsterdam, there the sailors are born on the hot, heady morn where the waves tire and die.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting from Joe's Pub here in New York City. I'd like to personally congratulate and thank the incomparable Barb Jungr for her time. Make sure you support and buy her brand new CD, Shelter from the Storm, which is on Lynn Records. As always, I'd like to personally thank the staff and management here at Joe's Pub for their warm hospitality. As always, please visit my website, www.thepacereport.com, for my weekly column, as well as my past segments. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.